I just realized that I have anxiety, right?
Okay.
Can you give me some coping mechanisms? Because large crowds give me anxiety like crazy. Especially that's one of the reasons why I haven't been out to protest, because that shit makes me like, because my wife asked me, she was like, something probably happened when you was a kid that makes you afraid of large crowds. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I would ask. I would ask, when did it start? When did you start fearing large crowds? Was it when you were a kid, in high school? What was it? When did that initially start?
So I noticed it when I went to college.
Okay.
When I went to college, I was because I'm from Los Angeles, right?
Okay.
And anytime there was like an event, a house party, like a bunch of kids, it was always something happening.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so when I got to college, and then I realized when I was in the big crowds, I was like, oh shit, something about to happen. Something's about to go wrong. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't like when people start running in crowds. Like that shit drives my nerves crazy.
So it sounds like you don't like to be in places that you can't control the environment.
Yeah.
And that's a form of PTSD.
Yeah.
Post-traumatic stress disorder, because you had experienced it in college, and so now you have a negative predisposition towards it as an adult. So it creates a form of anxiety, which is a form of fear. Yeah, and so your natural response to fear is either fight or flight.
Right.
And so you like, I'm not finna go because flight gonna be the be the response.
Yes. And then especially my anxiety is even heightened if I got my family with me.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I'm like,
anybody.
Man, there's no way in the world that I want to put my family in that situation. And then this is one thing that I was like, damn, I'm glad I didn't. I seen this on Instagram, right?
Okay.
It was the guy in Atlanta with his family, and they were in the back of the truck passing out waters to all the protesters, and the police started shooting tear gas at everybody in the street, and it got in the little kids' eyes, and then all you see is a cut to another video where all the kids in the car crying, the guy is crying, the wife is crying, and I'm just like,
it's tough.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
and I start putting myself in that situation.
Exactly.
When I tell you I started sweating and I'm in my house just watching this.
Yeah.
I'm just like, ain't no way in the world. Like, nah, I can't. I'm gonna just protest right here from the house.
Because you already have a predisposition to be a protector.
Yes.
So to imagine your limitations on protecting your family by putting yourself in that situation definitely will give you anxiety, hands down.
Yeah. That just drives me crazy.
Exactly. But with anxiety, you have to learn how to manage it internally versus externally. Like, I don't know what you do when you're at home, like what your self-care looks like, but a lot of that plays into being anxious as well. Like preparing yourself for things.
Like give me some tips about like some self-care things that I could do at home.
People, you can listen to music, you can go to bed earlier, you can take baths, you can sit outside, you can work out, you can run. Like all of those are considered like self-care practices that you use to put your mind at ease. I teach my clients grounding techniques all the time. What to do in the moment if you're anxious, you find yourself about to go into a panic attack. What will you do in that moment? And so those are the kind of things that I teach my clients that have anxiety.
Oh, okay. I used to meditate. Meditation
is awesome.
I used to meditate, but I don't know why I got away from it. But I used to meditate, and what I used to try to practice doing is when I'm outside where it is large crowd, I used to try to just center myself and just meditate in that moment.
Yeah.
So I won't feel my heart start racing and start doing stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, a lot of times I'm not afforded where I can do that all the time.
No,
you know what I mean?
Not. It's hard to escape sometimes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so in that moment, I would say, okay, you need to have something that's going to ground you and keep you from having a heightened awareness in that moment. So I teach people to do 5 senses.
Five senses.
You tap into your 5 senses. So if I say, I want you to focus on a color, like in this room, I say, I want you to focus on a color. Tell me 5 things that are black. Tell me 5 things you see that are black. So, you're doing your 5 senses.
Okay.
And so we go all the way down until we get to taste. And I'm like, tell me 1 thing you taste. You see what I mean?
That's black.
Yeah. Tell me 4 things you can touch. Tell me 3 things you can hear. You see what I mean? And so it makes you present in your moment and not so heightened with where you are.
Yeah.